Picture a number so large it almost stops functioning as a number. A figure that gets repeated so often it starts sounding true simply through repetition. $21 trillion. The President of the United States cites it as proof of an historic investment boom. It comes up in speeches, meetings with CEOs, and photo ops with foreign leaders. The message is simple. Capital is flooding into America at a scale never seen before. But numbers of this size don't hide. A surge on that scale would show up everywhere, in wages, construction, hiring, and national data. When investment is real, it leaves evidence. So what happens when economists start checking the math, and the evidence doesn't match the claim? But before we dive in, please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to us. No, let's get into it. To understand why the $21 trillion claim immediately raises questions, you have to put it in perspective. That number equals nearly 70% of total US GDP. It represents an amount of capital so large that it would reshape the entire economy in a matter of months, not years. For comparison, the New Deal, spread over almost a decade, transformed infrastructure, employment, and industry across the country. The post-World War II industrial expansion rebuilt factories, highways, and housing at a scale never seen before. Even the 19th century railroad boom, which physically connected the nation and unlocked continental trade, required far less capital relative to the size of the economy at the time. Now compress something larger than all of those episodes into less than 10 months. That is what a $21 trillion investment surge implies. If it were real, the effects would be impossible to miss. Construction cranes would dominate skylines. Factory permits would spike. Labor markets would tighten fast, pushing wages sharply higher. Housing demand would surge near industrial hubs. National data would reflect a clear break from trend. That is how genuine investment waves behave. They overwhelm existing capacity and force rapid adjustment across multiple sectors at once. They do not sit quietly in press releases. They do not require constant repetition to be believed. Instead, the broader economic picture looks far more restrained. Outside a few concentrated areas, especially technology, the economy shows no signs of being flooded with capital on a historic scale. And that gap between what a $21 trillion boom should look like and what the data actually shows is where the story starts to unravel. To see where the $21 trillion claim starts to break down, you don't need speculation. You just need to look at what the administration itself has published. The White House maintains a public tally of what it calls total U.S. and foreign investment commitments since the president returned to office. It's presented as evidence of an historic boom driven by policy and tariffs. Taken at face value, that list already tells a different story. Instead of $21 trillion, the total reaches roughly $9.6 trillion. That gap alone raises questions. And when you look over time, it becomes a pattern. Trump's stated investment figures consistently run trillions higher than what the White House itself documents. Analysts then examined the list in detail, going through all 137 projects one by one. The goal was simple: identify what actually qualifies as investment in an economic sense. That definition matters. Real investment is spending that builds physical facilities, expands infrastructure, creates durable jobs, or increases productive capacity over time. When those criteria are applied, the total shrinks again. Only about $7 trillion of the listed commitments meet that standard. The rest falls into looser categories. Some entries reflect future intentions rather than funded projects. Others combine spending spread across many years without clear timelines. Several announcements recycle existing operations or previously planned expansions and present them as new commitments. This doesn't mean the projects are fake. Many are real. Some are significant. But when routine activity, long-term plans, and broad estimates are all added together, the result looks much larger than the underlying reality. At this point, the contrast becomes hard to ignore. The official documentation does not support the headline claim, even before any outside skepticism is applied. And once the list itself stops adding up, attention naturally shifts to what has been counted, how it was classified, and why the number keeps growing anyway. Once the project list is filtered down to real investment, another pattern becomes clear. A large share of what remains is not investment at all, but trade that has been rebranded. About $2.6 trillion of the total comes from agreements to buy and sell goods. Energy purchases, natural gas supply contracts, commitments to expand imports and exports over time. These deals are often announced with impressive dollar figures, and they sound substantial. But economically, they function very differently from investment. Trade moves existing goods across borders. Investment builds something new. A long-term gas purchase sends money abroad in exchange for fuel. It does not create a new factory. It does not expand domestic capacity. It does not leave behind infrastructure that raises productivity years later. The same applies to aircraft orders, weapons sales, and bulk commodity contracts. They support specific industries, but they do not represent new capital formation in the way the headline suggests. That distinction matters because trade volumes can be large without changing the underlying structure of the economy. A $100 billion energy deal can boost exports and corporate revenue, yet leave employment, manufacturing capacity, and infrastructure largely unchanged. Counting those flows as investment inflates the total without producing the effects a true investment surge would normally generate. Many of these agreements are also spread over long periods. Some extend a decade or more. Others are conditional on prices, demand, or future negotiations. Yet the full value is often counted up front, as if the money were arriving immediately and building capacity today. Again, this does not mean these deals are meaningless. Trade relationships matter. Energy security matters. Export demand matters. But when trade is labeled as investment, the numbers grow faster than the economy itself. And even after folding in every trade agreement and purchase commitment, the total still falls far short of the number being repeated publicly, which brings the focus to what remains unaccounted for and why the gap keeps widening instead of closing. After removing real investment and stripping out trade deals, a much larger problem remains. Roughly $11.4 trillion still cannot be found anywhere in official records. It does not appear in project lists. It is not tied to agreements, contracts, or fact sheets. There is no timeline, no location, and no breakdown. These trillions exist only in speeches, interviews, and carefully staged photo ops. This is where the story shifts from accounting to credibility. When numbers this large vanish under even basic scrutiny, the issue is no longer paperwork. It becomes about why the figure was accepted in the first place. According to people familiar with the process, even inside the administration, the number is not taken literally. Allies describe it as aspirational at best. Some view it as a running total that keeps growing because no one ever subtracts anything. Others admit privately that the figure functions more as a talking point than a target. That gap between public confidence and private doubt matters. When senior officials repeat a number they know cannot be defended, the purpose changes. The figure stops measuring reality and starts shaping perception. It signals strength. It creates momentum. It dominates headlines. Accuracy becomes secondary. There is also a psychological effect at work. Once a number is large enough, few people challenge it directly. The scale itself discourages follow-up. Asking where $11.4 trillion went sounds almost abstract, even though it represents more than half the claimed total. This is why the missing share is the most damaging part of the story. It is not a rounding error or a classification dispute. It is the largest component of the claim, unsupported by evidence. And once that is clear, attention naturally turns to how such figures are produced, repeated, and amplified in the first place. Because numbers like this do not appear by accident. They are assembled, reinforced, and maintained through a very specific process. Once the missing trillions are acknowledged, the focus shifts to how the headline number keeps getting rebuilt anyway. The answer lies in a repeatable process that blends politics, incentives, and accounting shortcuts. It often starts with foreign leaders. During carefully staged meetings, massive figures are announced alongside flags and cameras. The United Arab Emirates is cited at $1.4 trillion. Qatar at $1.2 trillion. Saudi Arabia at $600 billion. later pushed toward $1 trillion, and then publicly nudged to $1.5 trillion. Japan appears with $550 billion. India with $500 billion. The numbers sound concrete, but most of these pledges are not binding investments. They are broad goals to expand trade, long-term purchase plans for energy, aircraft, or weapons, or political statements about future cooperation. The full values are counted immediately, even though the activity may stretch over many years or never fully materialize. The same dynamic appears on the corporate side. Executives quickly learn that large figures are rewarded with praise, access, and sometimes policy flexibility. As a result, normal business spending is repackaged as investment. Employee compensation, supplier contracts, content production, and maintenance of existing operations are bundled together and presented as new commitments. These are real expenses, but they would have happened regardless. Technology spending amplifies the effect. AI infrastructure dominates corporate pledges, accounting for roughly $2.9 trillion out of about $3.5 trillion in private commitments. But many of these announcements overlap. Multiple companies reference the same data centers. Some projects are counted by chip makers, cloud providers, and end users at the same time. Others were planned years earlier and are simply restated. Add it all together and the math inflates fast. Old projects are recycled. Trade becomes investment. Overlapping spending is counted more than once. None of this requires fabrication. It only requires aggregation without subtraction. And that process has a history. Big announcements, glowing projections, and photo ops have produced impressive headlines before, only to fade once construction, hiring, and output failed to follow. Which is why the final question is not how large the number sounds, but how often numbers like this have collapsed when reality finally caught up. Once the inflated numbers are stripped away, what remains is far more grounded. Real, identifiable investment does exist, and at roughly $7 trillion, it is still a very large figure by any historical standard. If fully delivered, that level of capital could support productivity gains, technology upgrades, and long-term growth. The problem is not that investment vanished. It is that its scale was dramatically overstated. When the data is broken down, one trend stands out. Artificial intelligence dominates nearly all of the visible momentum. Roughly $2.9 trillion of private commitments are tied to AI infrastructure, data centers, and computing capacity. But this surge did not begin with the current administration. It reflects a global technology race that was already underway, driven by competition, not policy announcements. Outside AI, the picture is far less dynamic. Business fixed investment across the broader economy has flattened and, in some areas, is turning down. Manufacturing capacity is not exploding. Construction outside a few concentrated sectors remains measured. Labor markets are not showing the kind of strain a historic capital flood would normally create. History reinforces the warning. In 2018, a highly publicized $10 billion Foxconn factory was promised to transform Wisconsin and employ 13,000 workers. Most of the buildings were never completed, and only a few hundred jobs materialized. The site is now being repurposed by other companies, driven by market demand rather than political declarations. The pattern is consistent. Investment follows incentives, technology, and profitability. Stories follow cameras, and confusing the two leads to numbers that sound impressive but fail to explain what is actually happening underneath. In the end, the most important figure isn't $21 trillion. It's credibility. Markets don't move on slogans. They move on trust, data, and expectations that hold up under pressure. When numbers are stretched far beyond evidence, confidence is the first thing to break, and once trust erodes, it's hard to rebuild. So here's the real question. If investment claims no longer need proof, what else stops being real? Share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel to stay updated, and see you in the next one.